Hello and welcome to another Call the Shots Director's Cut. Today we are joined by Julie Francis from Creative Fire. Hello Julie, how are you today?
Hello, I'm really well, thank you. A bit warm, it's thundery and warmy and stormy today.
It's a bit sticky and a bit humid. So
Hmm.
we've been working with Creative Fire, previously Ben Design, since 2015, I want to say.
Yeah, about that, I think, yeah.
So for those that don't know, do you want to tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so we are a creative agency, so we take care of graphic design and creative communications, and that could be anything from a simple logo design right through to a whole rebrand or a marketing campaign. We take care of all of the designed assets for that. We get involved with planning strategies for campaigns and marketing campaigns and brand building, and yeah, in a bit of a
Anything
nutshell,
visual?
anything visual. I think so. We've obviously worked together in a lot of video projects before, and animations and animating things, and yeah, we
Fun
get
stuff.
involved with all that visual stuff, the pretty stuff some people like to call it.
So do you want to talk briefly, because obviously I mentioned right at the beginning that you were formerly Ben Design. Do you want to talk briefly about your history and how you where Ben went to Creative Fire, and maybe talk a little bit about Greg there?
Sure. Okay. So I started Ben in 2012. Was working for somebody, wasn't particularly happy, and just kind of felt like there was a simpler way to do this. We'd worked in my employed position. We'd worked with creative agencies, and it just seemed like such a complicated process. You'd have to book in a call with a project manager, and the project manager would talk to the design creative director, and they'd then book it in with the studio, and then it just this convoluted process, and you would never get back what you really asked for. The brief would just get twisted or turned, and I just found it so frustrating, and I just felt like there should be a simpler way to do this. And so I kind of had this idea in my head of a business or an agency that I wanted to create, but it's never quite so simple as that. And so what I started doing was just freelancing, just to see if I could get any business. Can Julie Francis go out there and get any work for herself? And I could, and I did, and I built it up, and I quit my job, and I've kind of, it went from there. So gained clients, created bigger portfolios of work. Those clients referred me to other clients, gained more clients, and it's been amazing, really. So I kind of got to the point in 2018 where I felt like I wasn't really able to do all of it by myself anymore. Um, I was outsourcing work to other designers and other people when I couldn't manage it all myself, which worked well. It worked really well, but it wasn't quite the same, because everything still comes back to you. You're kind of filtering everything and managing everything, and it was just it felt like a big weight on my shoulders, and just felt like I couldn't really do it anymore. And then I got a message from Greg, and Greg had been freelancing for me previously, and he was in a bit of a similar position to what I was back in 2012, where he wasn't particularly happy in his role, and randomly got this message from him going, have you ever thought of like partnering with somebody? And I was like, actually, yes. So we met for a coffee and had a chat, and Greg came on board not that long after, really. We decided to rebrand the business from Ben to Creative Fire for a couple of reasons. One because I wanted Greg to have part. I felt like he was really part of this. Like, we're going in this together. We're fighting for this together. We're going to work our asses off to make this work. And so I wanted him to feel like he was part of something that we had made. And also the other reason was, yeah, exactly. And then the other reason was because we'd started applying for tender and contract work, and we wanted to give our business a different vibe. Ben, I think a lot of people think of, when they knew me and they knew Ben, they thought of Judy sat in her bedroom, like tapping away, just her and her crazy cat. And that was, that was Ben, and that was fine, and that worked. But because we were talking to these larger companies, we felt like we needed a facelift, and we felt like we needed to kind of step Ben up a little bit to meet the market that we were talking to and the market that we wanted to attract. So yeah, we rebranded, new website, new logo, new guidelines, new look, new feel, new visual language, everything. Yeah, exactly. And then so that was 2018. So that brings us up to 2020 really, and that's where we are now. And business is good. Business is doing all right.
Amazing. So you talked about your inspiration really for creating your own company being that you weren't content with the way that agencies were running when you were working there. But what inspired you to become a graphic designer? What is it that you enjoy about that process?
I think I've always been really creative. So if I think back to school, I was like, yes, we've got art today, like, you know, drawing, painting, cutting, sticking, crafting, all of that. That's always been a big part of me anyway. And I think when I left school and college, I think I thought I would actually go into animation of some sort. Like, I think if there was a job on the table then where I could just sit and draw cartoons and animate them, that's probably what I would have done. But it wasn't. I didn't know how to get to that point. I didn't know how. It wasn't. And you needed a job. I needed a job, so I took a job, and it wasn't even related in any way to what I wanted to do. But it was always in the background. It was always there. Having said that, I don't regret the jobs that I've had, because every single job that I've had in my career has kind of built me up to this point. You know, it's taught me brilliant customer service, or it's taught me about managing a team, or it's taught me about marketing, or it's taught me about print. So they've all, the further in my career I got, I guess, like, and I'm talking from when I was like 18, 19, all these little jobs were getting closer and closer to where I wanted to be, or related to the industry that I was interested in or had a love for. And eventually I did obviously get those graphic design positions, but by then I'd kind of, I don't know, I feel like I'd kind of taken on a bit more of a skill set, and seeing the way things were done wasn't how I thought they should be done.
You have to actually use your experiences in your role as opposed to stepping straight into it. I think that's always a really valuable thing to be able to do, is to bring your own experiences. I mean, I think some of the terrible jobs that I've worked in the past and how that's kind of led me to where I am now. But it is kind of fascinating to me that we both grew up wanting to be animators, and I can't do any design. I can make the movements and you can do all the design, but you can't do the movements. So together we are the animator we both plan to be.
We are the perfect team. We are.
That's one of the reasons that I love working with you, because you have that visual design element, but you also understand movement when it comes to animation. You understand the way the files need to be delivered, and how to design something so that it can be animated. So as an animator, it's amazing to work with someone like you that has that foresight on it. But moving on, what has been the proudest moment of your work life so far?
Wow. I don't know. I've got a few proud moments really. I won a Women in Business Awards. That was amazing. That was really, I was so proud of that. And I think especially because that same year I'd had Lottie, so it was kind of like, I got a 3-month-old at home and I've just won this award, and I honestly didn't feel like I don't know if I didn't feel like I deserved it, but I was really shocked to have won it. And so I was really, really proud of myself. And that actually takes a lot for me to be proud of myself. So yeah, that was pretty special.
You do tend to avoid praise of any sort. So,
Don't we all though? Don't we all do that?
We all do.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. So, any other proud moments for you over there?
I still get really proud when I see a customer with the thing. So say if we've created a brochure for them and they're at an exhibition, obviously not during lockdown, but if we're at an exhibition, you see that client proudly handing over their brochure that we've crafted for them. I'm like, yes, that's mine. It helped you do that. Like, I love that. Same with, like, you know, if you see your client boasting about their new website, or look at our new brand that we've created, and here's our brand guidelines, and you know, if we've had an input into that, that makes me incredibly proud that we've made them proud. So yeah, that
so one of the things that I think of with you that I am actually quite proud of, that we saw obviously, was one of the projects we worked on for the beaches.
Yeah,
we did those flyers that go in like welcome break things. That's and we animated those, and seeing those actually live and knowing the process that you went through to design them, and they came to me to animate them, and actually seeing them out there, or seeing things that you've designed for, like, that go on side of buses or posters and things like that. It's actually really incredible to be out in the world. I remember very vividly going to an expo with you where I think it was Ace you designed their entire kind of station expo thing, and you were just so excited to just see all your work there, like a kid at Christmas.
I
So
do. I get such a puzzle out of it. It's I don't know. Some people probably think that's a bit sad, but I don't care. I love it. I used to in a previous employed role, and this is how Greg and I know each other. We used to work for the same firm, and it all used to be packaging for food and drink industry. So customers would be Tesco and or Britvic, etc. And you know, like you'd be all day long working on like labels for bottles and cans and stuff. And then later on, like I've just got to go do my weekly shop. You go to Tesco, and there they are on the shelf, and you're just like, oh, I was working on that. I did that. Like it's just, I get a buzz out of it. I just do.
I genuinely think though that that's one of the things that makes a designer a good designer. If you get that buzz at seeing your work at the end of it, then you know that you're going to want to keep getting that buzz, so you're going to put everything into it. You don't want to see something you're not proud of on a shop shelf or on a poster somewhere. You want to be proud of the work that you've got and not sit there and pick holes in it going, well, I could have done that better.
Yeah.
So in some ways, surely it's an advantage to have that excitement of seeing the end product.
Yeah, I think so. If that excitement wasn't there, I think I'd worry. I'd be bored. I wouldn't want to do my job, but that's not the case. I love it.
Are there any favourite clients you've got, or clients you're proud to work with that you want to tell us about?
I've got loads of clients. I'm proud of loads of clients. There's clients that we work with who are maybe they're like micro businesses, and just to see see their kind of their growth and what they achieve over time, and you've helped them build their website and add pages and do e-shots and marketing campaigns, and you see how they grow and progress, and like incredibly proud to see that. But then on the other side of the coin, you know we've got larger corporations that we work with, and to have an input into what they're putting out there and what they're doing, again, I'm like incredibly proud to help them and support them. I love them all.
Well, it's definitely coming across how much you enjoy doing your work. So with that in mind, do you have any tips for people who, let's start with, do you have any tips for people that want to do what you do, that want to be designers out there? What is the number one tip you can give to any budding graphic designer?
I think probably never stop learning. Like even if you think you've got Illustrator nailed, like I know Illustrator inside out, back to front, I know it. Like yes, Illustrator is my thing. Like you don't. There's always something, and there's always new releases, there's always updates, and there's always other ways of working. And then if you think about how Illustrator works with other packages, and how Illustrator works with print compared to digital, and there's always something to learn. So I think it's impossible to learn everything, but try and always set yourself a bit of a goal, like to take some time and like, okay, I'm going to refresh on my skills in this area, or I'm going to refresh on this area. And so I think always just try and always keep learning and researching.
Do you have any advice on how to do that? Do you like watch videos, watch other people do it, just take training courses, or just have a fiddle?
Well, you can do all of those things, really. Have a fiddle, have a play, do something that you love. Like I've just helped my son create you'd love this actually, Lou, create a little storyboard for a video. He saw something I was doing, and then he was like, can I have a go at that? And I've got a story. And so we created the story, and I showed him how to use, he's 6 years old, I showed him how to use Illustrator, and it amazed me how quickly he picked it up. It was phenomenal. And then pardon?
Probably better than me.
It's better than me, maybe. And so, yeah, he's just done that through kind of like me showing him something to do. But there's so much training available. I mean, there are thousands of YouTube videos about ways to do things. Adobe software, they provide so much experience and knowledge, and there's a bank of training available with them. There's just no end. It's no end. Really.
And what about what's your top tip for businesses that are struggling with their branding?
I think if you're struggling with your branding, we need to figure out why. I think you need to take a step back and look at what is working, what isn't working. It's a bit like marketing. Let's do some marketing. Did that work? No. Okay, ditch it. Did that work? Yes, it worked. So let's do more of that. I mean, you just need to look at it in a logical way. You know, if you're scattergunning social media posts that are not connected, they're not consistent in any way, your messaging isn't right, you've got a different tone of voice on one to another. Like, I mean, these are obvious things to see, but you might not know that if you're too close to it. And so take a step back, maybe get an expert in to come in and have a look and do a review, and just kind of hone in on where your brand is and what that brand means to you, or what you want it to mean to you and your business. I think it's probably...
I just want to quickly, actually, for anybody that might be listening and be unsure of it, do you want to quickly explain the difference between a logo and a brand? Because this is something that we come across all the time. Can you send us your branding, please? You get a logo. So can you explain the difference, please?
Yeah, we get this a lot as well. There's quite a lot of very philosophical messages about the difference between branding and logo, but here essentially is what I believe the difference is. Your logo is an emblem, it's an icon, it can stand for your business, it might symbolically mean your business, it might mean something to you, it might mean it might give off some sort of emotion, or it might do, but basically generally it's a logo, it's an icon, it's a piece of graphic that represents the name of your business. A brand is everything that your business does, speaks, chats about, communicates with your staff, your values, your company beliefs, your aspirations in your business, and what that brand looks like, the visual identity. Very, very important is tone of voice, the way it communicates, the message. That is a brand. The whole big shebang, all of that is your brand. This little logo is just a little logo. It's not enough to create a brand. Very important. It's very, very important. But yeah, it's not.
And the brand can stem from the logo. You can start with the logo as a point of branding, but it needs to extend throughout that. And I think that what a lot of people miss is kind of they think that they just put their logo on things and it makes it theirs, whereas they're not looking at consistency overall. Are there any like big brands out there that you think are that you aspire to see, that you enjoy looking at, that their work is kind of...
I think probably I mentioned it earlier about working in that kind of food and drinks industry, that there are lots of brands in that sector that I admire and look to and really like. And now you're going to ask me to name some, and I'm rubbish at names. I'm always going to forget. But but even if you look like, so someone we know that we work with, we've done some art working for them. They're called Kiss Branding, and they the lady that works at Kiss Branding designed and had won awards for the Pizza Express pizza boxes that you would purchase when you go to the supermarket. Right. She's got loads of absolutely golden nuggets like that under her belt, and she's fantastic. So when I look at brands like that and what those brands are doing and how unique they are and the way they come together, like that inspires me, and I admire those. I don't know if there's anyone in particular I kind of think, oh, I'd love to do what they're doing. I don't know. I kind of like, I admire things, but I've always got my own take on things. So I think you have to try and stand out a bit as well, don't you? You need to be slightly different from what everyone else is doing.
I think that's a common theme across all creative industries. We often get people coming to us saying, oh, I want a video like this one. Or if you've got examples of videos like this, it's like, well, if I had an example that was the video that you wanted, exactly, then I would have already made your video, or you shouldn't want that video because someone's already done it.
Exactly.
So I think there's always kind of this, look at what your competition are doing, get inspiration from other people, but always go slightly to the left. Don't do exactly what they're doing. Find your own spin on it, your own creativity.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
And that's one of the reasons I love working with you, is because consistently across every project that we've worked on and all the designs I've seen yours, there's no common theme. I know that it's yours because you've designed it and you've told me you've designed it, but ultimately what that branding represents is the company that you have branded there, and it is entirely their tone of voice. It's not your voice mimicking theirs, it's their voice. And you have a great ability to be able to take on the persona of another brand and be able to work on their There's stuff in
Thank
that place. So it's
you.
always a joy to work with you.
Thank you.
And I think we've reached over 20 minutes now. So I am going to thank you very much, Julie, for joining us here today. Anybody wants to find out more about Creative Fire or Julie or the work that they do, check out the links in the comments below, and you'll find links to all their socials and everything. And I encourage you to go and look at Julie's work because she's absolutely amazing. Thank you, Julie. Anything you want to say to anybody?
Just that Lou sent me this amazing care package today. So if you make friends with Lou, she may send you vodka in the post as well.
Great tip for people. Come and join me on Facebook. See you later. Bye.